What's up, YouTube? It's Carolina Calvin, and I said I would get around to the recap of the Carolina Panthers New Orleans Saints game. The Carolina Panthers defeat the Saints Sunday afternoon, 41-38. And I guess I'll tell you the individual numbers and why, team numbers of course, and why I think the Carolina Panthers ended up edging them out at the end. The Saints had a chance, but they went pretty much turnover on downs, and the Carolina Panthers got a big stop at the end of the game to pretty much seal the game. Starting with the New Orleans Saints at quarterback, Drew Brees, 24 42, 282 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Sorry. Drew Brees, I thought he was able to move the ball. There were some drops in this game, but for the most part, he was able to move the ball. Pretty much to most of the receivers he was throwing to. Like I said, he doesn't have a bunch of talent. Cooks has been the guy who, they've been hoping to really step forward, especially with losing Jimmy Graham. I don't know how many times that could be mentioned. But, that was the guy they were going to look for to really step up. And, he's played okay. He really hasn't stepped into that role, but he's still a younger player. And, honestly, for the Saints throughout most of the year, they had a few games. It's been a struggle offensively. They have a game where Drew Brees throws 7 touchdowns and have a game where he throws none or 1 or 2, something like that. So, they still probably need to get some guys in the offseason. But I thought he was able to move the ball when they needed to throughout this game, outside of the final drive. Rushing, Mark Ingram, 12 carries, 56 yards, and a touchdown. He had a really nice touchdown, broke a couple of tackles. And you can tell they really tired out the Panthers defense on that particular drive. Drew Brees had that one rush for 12 yards. And Tim Hightower 1 carry for 2. It was mainly pass. They only ran the ball 14 times. It was for 70 yards. And they got a score from it. I thought they should have ran it a little bit more, seeing that the game was close for the most part. New Orleans was up at the beginning. But still, it's very difficult to run on that Panthers defense. So they felt as though they could throw it, they should put it in the air. And that's mainly what the team is built around. Threw the ball 42 times. Yeah, that's mainly what the team is built around. Receiving, Brandon Cooks, 6 receptions, 104 yards, and a touchdown. He had that big touchdown catch for 54 yards. I thought he played well. They were moving him all around the field. Moving him away from. Sorry, hold on. Okay, they were moving away from Josh Norman. For good reasons, guy been one of the best corners in football, but that was able to work because Josh Norman didn't follow him everywhere, so they were able to take advantage some other matchups. Brandon Coleman, 4 receptions, 73 yards and a touchdown. Benjamin Watson, 4 receptions, 38 yards and a touchdown. Mark Ingram, 4 receptions, 23. I'm not saying his name. Hamanau Nui. Ooh, I got it. I think I did. 1 reception for 19. Marcus Colston, 1 reception for 14. Josh Hill, 2 receptions for 11, and that pretty much is majority of the yards. I really think they were hoping to expect more, a little bit more out of C.J. Spiller, but injuries, man. But we saw what he could do back when he was in Buffalo. Defensively, Cameron Jordan made some plays up front. I would say up front, they were able to get some hits on Cam Newton. James Anderson had 11 tackles. Let me see who had the interception. Give me a second while I look at that. That doesn't tell me specifically who had the interception. Okay. I don't really know how to say his name. Sorry. But he did have the 1 interception. It was a really good play. But, as I was thinking about this the whole time, I thought for the most part, some of those other guys played good. It just, they just gave up some big plays, man. Carolina were able to get some big plays, some big throws down the field, some big time conversions, like on the when they converted in fourth down to pretty much extend the drive and get pretty much the game winning touchdown. And I think that was an issue that the Saints defense had. And they've had issues all year, but the biggest issue is Brandon Brown. He was terrible in this game. Clearly the worst defender that they had out there on the field. He was terrible. And, coming into the season, I thought he was a nice pickup. But, after watching these Saints games, he's been the most penalized player on the team. I believe after that game is 20, might be over 20, but that's way too many, especially for a guy that's playing in the secondary. But like I said, I think they made some plays. If you remember, they did get a defensive touchdown. They also got a blocked field goal. So I think they did make some plays. It's just they gave up big plays. The long pass to Ted Ginn, which Ted Ginn dropped a couple of those that he was wide open on, and it was one touchdown. I think it was Ted Ginn. He actually caught one of them. He was wide open in the end zone. They had about 4 or 5 defenders standing in the end zone, and he gets behind them in the back of the end zone. And this, it wasn't that much field to cover. It was about 20 yards of field to cover, and they completely blew that coverage. It's just been a lot of issues with the Saints defense. But I thought they played a little bit better, especially in the first half. On over to the Carolina stats. Cam Newton, 28-41, 331 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 pick. I thought he missed some throws. The first half wasn't particularly too good for him. The second quarter got better as later on, when they were able to when they got it to 13-16, which is weird because they blocked that field goal. He did have a first half interception, but I think that second half he really started to make some plays, some drops. Man, Ted Ginn dropped 2 sure touchdowns. He dropped both of them. Funches, he also dropped the pass in that second half. But Cam Newton, he did miss some guys. He missed. I remember him missing Greg Olsen on a throw. I remember him missing, I believe it was Ted Ginn, who knows if he'd have caught it or not, but Cam Newton clearly overthrew him when he was open. So I think the issue with Cam Newton, he usually overthrows players. If you watch the games, usually when he throws miss, it's usually overthrown. It's never underthrown because Cam Newton puts a lot on his passes. Maybe sometimes too many times. He constantly lasering him in instead of giving him a little touch. But I thought he played well in that second half. Rushing, Jonathan Stewart, 21 carries, 82 yards, and a touchdown. Cam Newton, 10 carries, 49, and he didn't have a touchdown. I'm sorry. Mike Tolbert, two carries, 33 yards. Fozzie Whitaker, 1 carry for 11. They ran the ball 34 times, and that's what they want to do. They're gonna run it 25 plus, going on 30, because you're gonna get Cam Newton running. Jonathan Stewart's gonna be the guy, the main running back. You're gonna get some carries with Mike Tolbert, especially in short yardage situations. So you also get Cam some. He'll also get some quarterback design runs in short yard situations. So you can expect them to run the ball a lot. They're one of the top rushing teams, and a big part of it is just Cam's ability to run as well. Receiving, Greg Olsen, 9 receptions, 129 yards, made some plays. He was the one that made that play on fourth down. The guy was, like I said, it should have been more than this because Cam missed him on a few throws, and also you got to count the fumble. The Panthers had 3 first half turnovers, which that's pretty much what got them into that 14-0 deficit early on. Ted Ginn, 5 receptions, 80 yards, 2 touchdowns. Guy should have had a way better game. He was, like I said, he was open on 2 big plays that I recall. because those were sure touchdowns. He catches those. He comes wide open down the field. Jonathan Stewart, 3 receptions, 81. Ed Dixon, 3 receptions, 27. Spot they haven't got him involved a little bit more. Jerricho Cotchery, 3 receptions, 26 and a touchdown. Mike Tolbert, 2 receptions, 18 and a touchdown. And Devin Funchess, 1 reception, 13 and a touchdown. He's been getting less targets. I've seen him less and less on the field because when he's out there, he's been dropping a lot of passes. He's played a little bit better, but they haven't. Cam hasn't targeted him as much. And Corey Brown, 2 receptions for 7. Defensively, let me see. Thomas Davis, they need to blitz him more. He had a sack, and usually when he blitzes the quarterback, he usually is able to disrupt the quarterback in some way, if not sack him. So I think if they do send blitzes, they're gonna have to send they're gonna have to send Thomas Davis a little bit more often. I thought Thomas Davis, Luke Kuechly, they had an okay game. Let me see. K1 Short. Let me see. Was it? Yeah, K1 Short, I think, tied the record for sacks for a defensive tackle. I was kind of disappointed. To be honest, I was kind of disappointed with the way the front four played. They made some plays here and there, but they weren't able to get a bunch of pressure on Breeze for the most part. Like I said, they had their plays. But, that was a thing with the Panthers. They were able to get pressure with that front four. But you haven't seen it as much this year. They have their moments, and I think the secondary has definitely played better than what people expected. No one expected, although Josh Norman was good last year, no one really watches the games and know that. No one expected, let me see, Kurt Coleman to play well. Roman Harper to actually play better. I don't want to say he's been playing great, but he's played better than he played last year. No one expected some of those guys to step up in the secondary. They also pick up Cortland Finnegan, which he was on the field a couple times. I was surprised they put him on the field. He's a guy who, older player, hasn't played football in a while, but he could become, and because of course the injury with Charles Tillman. I'm pretty sure they're filling him in that role, so he could become an important part of that secondary. I think defensively, the Saints at times were able to move the ball with ease, with really no pressure, and Drew Brees was able to hit guys open down the field. I think it's mainly because pass rush is not able to generate any kind of pressure. Something's gonna have to be fixed for the Panthers if they're looking forward into the playoffs. Let me see. Team stats. Give me 1 second. Third down efficiency. Carolina Panthers was 3 of 8, and the New Orleans Saints was 3 of 10. So the Panthers, a little bit more efficient on third downs. Fourth downs, Carolina 2 and 2. Mentioned one of the plays with Greg Olsen. Cam Newton rolling out to the left, and a little touch pass to Greg Olsen. Really bad pass, but great effort by Greg Olsen. And the Saints are on 1 on that. That was pretty much at the end of the game where they had, that was pretty much 4-down territory where they had to get it. Let me see. Penalty infested game. You had a couple of personal foul penalties. I would say majority. Carolina had 8 penalties for 87 yards. Saints had 11 for 104. About 4 or 5 were Brandon Browner, and he was bad. He gave up some big plays. He gave up some touchdowns. He helped extend drives with stupid penalties, holding. I think he got hit with PI. The guy wasn't good. Turnovers, Carolina Panthers had 3, all of them in the first half. So that doesn't help. It was a fumble return from Jonathan Stewart, return for a touchdown. Greg Olsen when Carolina Panthers were knocking on the door, and an interception by Cam Newton. The one turnover by the New Orleans Saints was a pass down the middle of the field. Kurt Coleman made an amazing play on it. Wasn't it shouldn't have. It was a throw that shouldn't have been made by Drew Brees, but it was amazing defensive play nonetheless. Time no, time possession. Carolina won by, I would say, quite a wide margin, 36 minutes 34 seconds to the Saints 23-26. Now, a big reason why this is the case, the Saints only ran the ball 14 times. 14 times. Carolina ran it 36. Let me see. I believe Carolina ran it 36. No, they ran it 34. So, of course, the clock is going to run a little bit longer because that's just the style that Carolina usually plays with. They're going to run the ball. They're going to eat up some of the clock. So, you kind of get it. The Saints, get down the field quick, throw the ball in the air, let Drew Brees make plays down the field. Quick strike offense. That's what they would. That's what they have done in the past, and that's what the team's built around. They're not really trying to grind out drives. It's just trying to get down the field through the air really quickly, and make some runs in there to keep the other team off balance. Let's see. Let me check the schedules for both teams. So I believe the Panthers. The Panthers have the Falcons. The Falcons have been terrible. So the Panthers still gonna have to play, man. The Cardinals are still right there despite the Panthers having an undefeated record, and they need to go ahead and win these games so they can get home field advantage. The Saints have Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which Carolina has to play them again. Carolina still has to play Atlanta twice. They have to play the Giants, and they also have to play Tampa Bay one more time. The Saints pretty much, they're pretty much done for the season. They have the Bucks, Lions, Jaguars, and Falcons to end the season. I need to keep up with doing these a little bit more often. Like I said, I've been skipping a lot of weeks. Been busy, and I didn't really want to do it late. I just really decided to do this one late because I haven't done one in a while. Matter of fact, I did want to talk about one thing. It's this whole MVP thing with do I think Cam Newton's MVP? No, but I definitely think he's in the conversation. People are saying he's not in the conversation. Do not watch the games. They do not see coming into this season. It was already looking bad with Kelvin Benjamin going down with the ACL injury. His number one receiver is Ted Ginn. Ted Ginn, I believe, is number 5 in drops. He's in the top 5 in drops, I believe. And just as a team, they don't throw. Carolina doesn't throw. See, people look at the drops and they say, okay, New England's number 1, but New England throws the ball a lot, and they've had injuries. I'm not gonna say they didn't, but they have injuries. Gronk didn't play last game. Amendola's been out a few games. Edelman. So they've had injuries. They have guys who haven't gotten a bunch of playing time. Carolina, on the other hand, they don't throw the ball as much, and yet they still up there in terms of drops. Ted Ginn has dropped a lot of his drops are for sure touchdowns. So, just looking at the weapons coming in, Kelvin Benjamin gets hurt before the season starts. Ted Ginn's your number 1 guy. You got Jerricho Cotchery and Devin Funchess, who drops a lot of passes as well. Only reliable guy as a pass catcher. I'll say Jerricho Cotchery has been reliable, but he hasn't been targeted very much. Greg Olsen, he's a tight end. Greg Olsen has been the most reliable guy on that offense in terms of as a pass catcher. Rushing attack, it's been better than I thought. A lot of it is Cam Newton, but I think Jonathan Stewart has been able to make plays. So, just looking at the numbers, Cam has been amazing in the fourth quarter. 7 rushing touchdowns, 25 passing touchdowns, over 400 yards rushing. He does have the 10 picks, but people, you know, when people just look at the numbers without looking at, okay, what does he have to work with? You could say these quarterbacks have the injuries here and there. This is, outside of Kelvin Benjamin, this is his guys healthy. He never really had. I would say the years he had a really good in terms of talent around him. When he had D'Angelo Williams, Jonathan Stewart, um, I believe this was like his rookie year. Um, yeah, Greg Olson, yeah, Steve Smith, Brandon LaFell, who another guy drops a lot of passes. The guys in New England know that. That's really the time he had really some, I guess some better talent. Coming into the season, a lot of people regard this, even with Kelvin Benjamin healthy, a lot of people regarded this receiving core as one of the worst in football. One of the worst. And, when you see it, that's why. And, just to harp on the offensive line a little bit, I think they've played, they surpassed my expectations the way I thought they would play. Especially a guy like Michael Orr, who I don't know why he's getting all these Pro Bowl votes, but he's been okay. He hasn't been bad as people expected him to be, but I think he's been better. A lot of times you see max protection. You see a running back, you see a tight end back there to help with protection. That's another thing people don't notice. But that's all I really wanted to say. This video went on 21 minutes. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe. Thanks for watching.